A Nobel Prize-winning physicist, a man who won the highest honor in science, a man who already rewrote the laws of the universe once, looked at the data coming from the most powerful telescope ever built by human hands, and said 5 words that sent a chill through the entire scientific world. He said, "We have misunderstood the universe. Not we made a small error. Not we need to tweak a formula." He said we, all of us, every physicist, every cosmologist, every scientist who ever lived, may have fundamentally, catastrophically misunderstood the universe we live in. And the thing that brought him to that terrifying conclusion? A vast population of strange, glowing, blood-red objects that the James Webb Space Telescope suddenly found scattered across the ancient sky, objects so bizarre, so impossible, so completely outside the boundaries of what science said could exist, that researchers around the world went back and checked their data again and again, convinced something had to be wrong with the telescope. It wasn't. So stay with me, because what I am about to tell you is not science fiction, it is not a theory, it is not speculation. This is happening right now, published in the world's most respected scientific journals, and it may be the most important discovery in the history of human civilization. Let's start at the beginning, because to understand why this discovery is so earth-shattering, you need to understand just how confident science was before James Webb came along. For decades, nearly a century, physicists operated under what they called the Standard Model of Cosmology. It was a beautiful, elegant, mathematically precise framework that explained how the universe was born in the Big Bang 13.8 billion years ago, how it expanded, how the first stars and galaxies formed, and how everything evolved into the cosmos we see today. Scientists trusted this model the way you trust the ground beneath your feet. It had been tested, verified, confirmed over and over. And then in December 2021, the James Webb Space Telescope launched into space, a $10 billion machine with a mirror 6.5 meters wide, so sensitive it could detect the heat of a bumblebee on the moon, and it began looking deeper into the universe than any instrument in human history. And almost immediately, something went terrifyingly wrong. In the summer of 2022, only a few weeks after Webb began delivering its first scientific images, astronomers noticed an unexpected pattern, tiny red points scattered throughout the new observations. These extremely compact, distinctly red objects appeared with remarkable clarity, and there were far more of them than expected. Science Daily scientists called them the little red dots. And at first, people assumed they were familiar things, distant galaxies, perhaps, or clouds of cosmic dust catching starlight from far away. But the more they looked, the more wrong every explanation turned out to be. They looked a bit like a galaxy, a bit like a black hole, and a bit like a star, and experts from all these communities began putting forward their theories. CNN, none of them fit. Nothing in science predicted these objects. Nothing in the Standard Model allowed for them. And yet there they were, widespread in the early universe, primarily the first billion years of cosmic time, appearing everywhere Webb looked, and then almost completely disappearing after 2 billion years, as inexplicably as they had appeared. CNN, over 1,000 of them have now been identified. 1,000 impossible objects glowing in the ancient darkness of the early universe. Now here is where the Nobel Prize winner enters the story, and this is where everything gets truly alarming. His name is Adam Riess. He is a physicist at Johns Hopkins University, winner of the 2011 Nobel Prize in Physics for co-discovering one of the most mind-bending facts in all of science, that the universe is not just expanding, it is accelerating its expansion, driven by a mysterious invisible force called dark energy. This is a man who has already rewritten physics once. And when Riess and his team used the James Webb Telescope to study how fast the universe is currently expanding, a number called the Hubble constant, they found something that made their blood run cold. The number was wrong. Not slightly off. Not within the margin of error. The measurements from the early universe gave a Hubble constant of around 67.4 km per second per megaparsec, while measurements of the local universe came back at 73.4, a discrepancy that appears to be growing larger with every improvement in precision. Science nature in physics, when a discrepancy reaches 5 times your margin of error, it is considered a discovery. This one has now reached 6.5. With measurement errors negated, Rees said, what remains is the real and exciting possibility that we have misunderstood the universe. ESA, and he didn't stop there. He told a scientific panel, something fishy is going on in the universe today, and we don't know what it is yet. Science nature when a Nobel laureate says that, publicly, in front of the scientific community, you listen. But what are these little red dots actually? What exactly did Webb find lurking in the ancient sky? After years of fierce debate across the world's greatest research institutions, the answer that has emerged from Nature, the most prestigious scientific journal on Earth, is more extraordinary than anyone imagined. The little red dots are young black holes, enshrouded in a cocoon of gas which they are consuming in order to grow larger. This process generates enormous heat, which shines through the cocoon, and that radiation through the cocoon is what gives them their unique red color. Science Daily. But here is what makes this so staggering. These are not ordinary black holes. They are among the smallest black holes ever observed, and yet they are still enormous, with masses reaching up to 10 million times that of our Sun and diameters of about 10 million kilometers. SciTech Daily. And they existed less than 1 billion years after the Big Bang. In a universe that was still in its infancy. At a time when black holes of that size simply should not have been able to form yet, according to everything science told us. In essence, the Standard Model predicted that massive black holes could not have formed less than 1 billion years after the Big Bang. Universe today, and yet here they are. Hundreds of them. Staring back at us through 13 billion years of time. But the story gets even stranger, because not all scientists agree on what these objects are. And the disagreement has led to the proposal of something that has never existed before in human knowledge. Researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Astronomy discovered an extreme little red dot they nicknamed the Cliff, an object so bizarre that it broke every existing model. Its light could not be explained by massive galaxies or typical active galactic nuclei. The researchers introduced an entirely new concept, a black hole star, essentially a black hole feeding so rapidly that it lights up the thick cocoon of gas surrounding it, making it glow like a star. Live science. A black hole that looks like a star. An object that is 1 trillion times more luminous than our Sun, powered not by nuclear fusion but by the most violent gravitational force in the universe. This is a category of cosmic object that has never existed in any textbook, any classroom, any scientific paper, until now. And separately, scientists at Harvard Center for Astrophysics published research suggesting these objects could be supermassive stars, single gigantic stars about 1 million times the mass of the Sun, providing direct evidence of the final brilliant moments just before a giant star collapses into a black hole. Center for Astrophysics stars 1 million times the mass of our Sun standing at the edge of collapse. Photographed by our telescope across 13 billion years of cosmic distance. Let that sink in. What makes all of this so profound, what keeps physicists awake at night, is what it means for everything we thought we knew. The discrepancy between the observed expansion rate of the universe and the predictions of the Standard Model suggests that our understanding of the universe may be incomplete, Hub Rees concluded in a landmark study published in the Astrophysical Journal. 2 of the greatest space telescopes ever built, Hubble and James Webb, are now confirming the same impossible measurements, independently, using different methods, pointing to the same unsettling truth. Some scientists have begun talking about a cyclical universe, the idea that the Big Bang was not the beginning of everything, but the result of the collision between 2 previous universes, and that the James Webb Telescope could be picking up echoes of that collision, residual gravitational waves, variations in the cosmic background, and anomalous thermal patterns. Scientists. Others believe it points to entirely new physics, forces and particles and dimensions of reality that Einstein never imagined, that quantum theory never predicted, that no human being has ever conceived of. As Rees himself said, perhaps we are at the beginning of a new chapter in science. The universe is telling us something. We just have to listen, and be willing to challenge everything we thought we knew. Science Nature. And that is the most profound, most humbling, most beautiful thing about all of this. We built a telescope. We pointed it at the sky. And the universe looked back at us and said, "You don't know me as well as you think you do." The little red dots are not just strange cosmic objects. They are a message written in light that has been traveling toward us for 13 billion years, a message that says, there is so much more. We are standing right now at the edge of a revolution in human understanding, bigger than Copernicus, bigger than Newton, possibly bigger than Einstein, and we are living through it in real time. Every time James Webb opens its golden eye and peers into the deep dark of the cosmos, it is not just taking pictures. It is rewriting the story of everything. And the greatest chapter is still being written. If this video gave you that feeling, that overwhelming, electric feeling of wonder at how enormous and mysterious and magnificent our universe truly is, please share it with someone you love, because this story deserves to be heard. Subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next one, somewhere out there in the deep sky.